Back for another episode, PGF Players Podcast. Out west, Amanda Freed. My name is Daron Sutton, and of course, she dominated softball out west and globally. And a couple of players that maybe will do the same. Excited to chat with Lauren Putz, who's out of Arizona. The studio is in Arizona, and she's not too far from here. Her dad certainly played at the highest level at Michigan. Her mom, you played with. She was an All-American at Michigan. But Lauren's Lauren, Low as they call her, and really excited to learn more about her story. It's not just her family genes anymore, it's who she is as a woman, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So tied to her academics. There's obvious ties to Michigan, but that's not the only reason she's going. Loves the coaches, loves the atmosphere, wants the weather, loves the seasons, the idea of the seasons, but just somebody looking for more out of herself and out of her softball career. So I love talking with her about the advice and the leadership and guidance from her parents and her siblings as she goes off into Michigan to continue her career.
So I'm going to be the minor league baseball pitcher for a minute and just say I would have loved to have pitched to Corri Hicks. I mean, just the way she commands that position, the way she is as an offensive player, she would have supported any pitcher that's out there. Certainly I was tossing a baseball, you a softball. But getting to know her, you can understand why she is a keen leader and an important part of any team for which she plays. She's an Oklahoma commit out of Archbishop Mitty in San Jose, California.
Yeah, to be identified as a catcher, that position by a program like Oklahoma, it really says something about her maturity behind the plate and her ability to command that position, especially going into a program like Oklahoma. She exudes confidence. Her articulation and the way that she's able to talk about the game and talk through failure is something that you would love to throw to as a pitcher, somebody who's got that kind of head on their shoulders and skill behind the plate. So it was a real pleasure to talk to Corri, and I'm really looking forward to watching her career at Oklahoma.
So the West Coast is the best coast as far as these prep stars, one Arizona, one Northern California. But the West couldn't hold on to them. One's going to Michigan, one's going to Oklahoma. It's PGF Players Podcast, and it starts right now. Michigan's getting a good one, and I think they know that. But then again, you have to continue to learn about your athletes. If you're going to look at the family tree, they'll understand that Michigan was impacted, baseball and softball, by our next guest and her mom and dad. I had the good fortune of covering Dad as a Major League announcer, and Dad was a Major League pitcher. As a matter of fact, I was behind a microphone when his team clinched the division, one of the more favorite moments I've ever had as a Major League announcer. So now it's fun to talk to Michigan commit Lauren Putz, who, as this studio sets, Amanda, my co-host, who's in Huntington Beach, California, I may be 15, 20 minutes from her home, but it's great to reconnect and to understand who she is as an athlete. Lauren, thanks for spending time on the PGF Players Podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So the senior year, I know a little bit about Xavier, having a daughter that attended there many years ago, and the passion that goes into academics, strong women, and athletics. Certainly there as they build it. What do you hope to accomplish your senior year? Let me take softball out of the mix. As a student, as a woman, Lauren, what do you hope you accomplish your senior year?
So obviously I hope to accomplish good grades to get into Michigan. I'm hoping to be more involved with my school by joining more clubs and helping out where I can, and just pretty much enjoy my senior year like everybody else and just trying to have a good time.
Is Sister Lynn still there, by the way?
Yes, she is.
All right. Sorry, Amanda. I had to jump in. The boss with the high expectations. Just wanted to make sure. Go ahead, Free.
And you keep him in line. So when you say do more, do better, get good grades, I want to volunteer more, I want to reach out more, how do you find more time? Like, what does that balance look like? Obviously, you handle it very well because of the grades that you get and the path that you're on, but has it been a learned process for you, or have you always been a very time-managed type of person?
It's definitely been a learning curve for me. When I was younger, I always played two sports. So traveling in the car from sport to sport, doing homework in the car. So I've kind of grown up learning how to manage all of my time in homework and athletics. So it's pretty normal to me at this point.
You know, I've had some really fun conversations with your mom, who I know that we talked a little bit over the summer. I played travel ball with Kelsey, your mom, and we won a couple of national championships with Gordon's Panthers and had some fun conversations about your siblings and the multiple sports, and then just the job that your mom and dad do to get the four of you to your numerous activities. What does that mean for you to have that support system? You have a twin sister as well, to really encourage you in what you want to do and you encourage them. I mean, how much does that mean to you to have that sort of support?
It means a lot. I'm very thankful to have a twin sister and two younger siblings who love to watch me play and come and support me. I'm also very fortunate to have two amazing parents who sacrificed a lot to let me go on an official to Michigan, go to Xavier, and do all these sports growing up. So it's amazing, and I'm very fortunate to have everyone.
So what's the give back then? I love when young people are aware of the sacrifice of their parents. What's the give back in your mind? Your dad, JJ, and your mom, Kelsey, through your activities, through your actions, what do you owe them in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
I owe them a lot. I've started driving my siblings to sports when they need to, helping around the house, babysitting, just helping out when I can and offering to help if they need help.
All right. So, and then obviously you challenge yourself academically. You have those high standards. I wish I could ask you this and take your mom and dad out of the question, but then you're your own person too. So the lower thinker would think, well, of course, parents went to Michigan. Why wouldn't you go to Michigan? I'm just going to guess it's not that easy. I really am going to guess it's just not that simple, that they had to win you over. So let me try to take mom and dad out of this question. If I do so, why was Michigan the right choice for you?
So obviously I grew up with a lot of Michigan background because of my parents. But when I went to my official, it just felt like home because I've been to Michigan several times. It was an amazing experience. The coaches were great. I've known the coaches for years. And just when they offered me, it was obviously a no-doubter. I really wanted to go to Michigan, not just because of my parents, just because of myself. And it's somewhere I really wanted to be.
When your twin sister, Kaylin, is committed to Lindenwood for beach volleyball, which I think is so cool. How is that going to feel for you? I know that, you guys are obviously on two very different paths, and it started a little bit in high school to get used to going in different directions, but the bond between twins is really something remarkable. How have you guys communicated about, I know it's a year away, but about what it's going to be like for you to be in different places and how you're going to see each other and encourage each other from afar?
Yes, we've talked about this a good amount of times. We both say, oh, we're not going to miss each other that much. It's going to be fine. Like, we're only an hour plane ride away. But I know deep down inside, both of us, we're both like, it's definitely going to be weird. Like, it's not as the same as high school, where you like have one class that's not the same, but you see each other mostly throughout the day and at home. Whereas like at college, you're gone for a whole year. You're not seeing your twin sister. Obviously, phone calls, FaceTiming, flying out to see her over the weekends if I can, supporting her at her matches, her coming to support me. It's just trying to find time around our schedules to see each other.
Yeah, I love that. And as far as your softball, you have this year, obviously looking forward to your final season of high school ball and then going off to Michigan. I saw you guys make a really nice run late into PGF. I was pulling for you because 5 games, I think it was, on Friday. I mean, you were so close, and that is so tough to do. What in your mind is that next step for you personally before you go off to college? What is it that you want to fine tune or pay a little closer attention to skill wise before you head off next year?
Personally, I want to work more on my mental game skill wise. I've been working with a mental coach for the past couple months, trying to be more positive when I make a mistake or looking forward and like pushing through the next 4 games in a day. So that's what I want to focus on more. Offensive and hitting and defense, I just want to work on obviously being at the top of my game all the time, being ready for the ball, being aggressive at the plate, and just doing the best that I can.
I'd love to know some of the secrets to success with the mind. Obviously you're taking the time to sit down, so you don't have to give all those secrets away. You're putting in the time to learn. But, if I'm going to go at first glance, what are some of the ways you've actually helped yourself deal with failure? Maybe continue to grow and strengthen the mind. Give me some secrets.
So I will visualize before I go in the box at the time where I had a good at bat or had a good outcome at an at bat. So I'll visualize what I did in that at bat pretty much. Positive talk, not going into the negative side, which is a huge thing, especially when it's 99% mental of a game. And just pretty much just trying to flush out any distractions, just keep in my positive mind and focus on what I'm doing.
So being a part of a program high school wise, and obviously with the Arizona Storm and Coach Mathis, it's a really good program as well. But being a part of Xavier College Prep on the high school side, Beneficial for you because you guys won it all your first year, if I'm not mistaken. You have got a couple of state championships. But that means at that point, there were older players. There were players that were probably a little bit more talented than you, had more experience. Has it helped you to stay at that high level, to be around athletes that are constantly pushing you?
I believe so, yes. It's great having older girls who are obviously better than me, and I can look up to them to see, how a play is done, how they think in the box, and just being around them constantly, even outside of softball, seeing how they live their life so positively and just having fun. So I just like to look up to them.
Is Max Preps right? Did you have an OPS over 2,000 last year?
I have no idea. I don't check stats
over
that
2,000. Low, over 2,000. Like literally slugging 1,400, a 700 on base, 13 homers. You had an incredible year. Have they told you, by the way, Lauren, about the weather in Michigan? Have they told you anything about the weather there?
Yes, I'm so excited to get to the cold weather. It's still 100 degrees outside in September.
I know, right outside this window, I know.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the snow, the cold, the rain, clouds. I'm excited for all of it.
And I've got to ask you, and I keep cutting Amanda off, I apologize, Freed. I got to ask you what your mom shared with you about her experiences, obviously playing when she did, playing for Hutch and being a part of the program then. I do a lot of stuff in between generations with Sierra Romero, who I know you're very well aware of. But what were some of the stories she told you about back then at Michigan?
She told me a bunch of stories about her playing softball with Hutch and Bonnie and all of them. Just good stories of when she was playing practice-wise, school-wise, just at Michigan. She tells me a bunch of funny stories of when she was younger. So
no, you got to give us one.
Not at the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Well, think about it. We'll come back to you on that one. Go ahead, Free.
Yeah, so obviously she told you enough good things because it doesn't look like, based on when we asked you what you were going to do in 10 years, that you're coming back, because you said you're going to live in a big, nice house on Lake Michigan with the 4 seasons. You're really scarred out there in Arizona.
Yes.
We kind of have it similar out here in California, but maybe not as hot as you. But what do you see yourself doing? You obviously have a very mature approach and perspective on the game and life, and great leadership and great support within your family. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What do you see yourself studying in college and going on to become after?
So I'm hoping to study sports management and communications in the kinesiology school. And I want to pretty much do what my dad kind of did, working in the sports industry, either in the office or anything around that. So I'm just really invested in sports, and I think I know sports pretty well to work in that industry when I'm older.
Does it intimidate you all to think about possibly crossing over into a baseball type of thing, or exploring some NIL type of management opportunities down the road? With the growth of the sport, really, you could go anywhere with what you're looking to do.
Yeah, it doesn't freak me out too much. I'm really excited for college and what's to come and after college. So I'm excited to jump into all of that.
Yeah, what a great answer. What a great answer. I won't put your feet to the fire on a story from Mom, but I will ask you, when we had fun with those numbers a little bit, but those are real numbers, and you have done that your last couple of years of high school and certainly in travel ball. So if I'm going to then look at your swing, put it on video, and have you look at the side swing and just kind of ask you, hey, Lauren, what am I looking at? Tell me from spikes all the way up to helmet, the most important moving parts of your swing, from hips to hands to head. What do you tell yourself as we're looking at your swing on video? When it's right, what does it look like?
When it's right, I don't really load with a step. I load with a toe, a heel up. So when I load back, and then I fire my hips, and then everything else follows. And it's the best when you can't feel or remember what pitch you hit. Like if I hit an outside pitch and I drove it to left side, I won't remember, was it an outside pitch or a middle pitch that I drove to left? It's the best because you can't feel the bat on the ball. That's when I know my swing is good, and when I see the ball fly.
Oh, what a great answer. Lauren, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you joining and excited for what your future holds.
Thank you so much.
Lo Putz joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. She's a Michigan commit. More great conversations just like this right around the corner. This is the PGF Players Podcast. More in a moment. I was raised to respect my catchers, and Amanda knows to respect her catchers with all she accomplished in the circle, and this is a good one. Now, she can play just about anywhere on the field because the bat plays. There's no doubt the bat plays, but we're joined by Oklahoma commit Corri Hicks, who spends time with us now out of San Jose, California. Corri, thanks for spending time with us. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I've got to take you back in time. When did this sport that we love so much, and you two especially are passionate about it, but when did this sport grab hold of your heart? What was the why? What do you recall? Why are you where you are now, if you're going to take me back in time?
So I lived in Southern California for 7 years, like when I was young. And my mom and my dad, they're both big basketball people. So they love basketball, but my mom and like her sisters, they played softball and everything. But like my mom's one love was like basketball. And like I started playing softball, me and my sisters, we all play softball. And when I started playing it, I was just like, I love this sport. Like I'm a very competitive person, and like it's a game where you can really compete with other people, and it like really just like fulfills that like need in me to like win, I would say. So I mean, like it's one of the games where it's like, yes, there's a lot of failure, but like as I've grown older, I've just realized like if I didn't play the sport, like I don't know what I'd be doing with myself really. So
Well, I love that you actually initially you talk about the failure part. Like that's difficult, but it sounds like you fell in love with that part of the game. Whereas there's a lot of times athletes get discouraged by that because it's a difficult sport. So how were you able to kind of put that in perspective and understanding that it's a game of failure, but loving the challenge and wanting to win, but knowing that that's a part of it?
yeah, that's always been something I've struggled with, is being able to overcome the failure. Cause like failure is like, of course, like this game's 80% failure, like people like to say. And it's just being able to understand that, okay, everyone messes up. Like you're not going to be perfect at all times. Like absolutely not. Like as good as you, like as anybody is, like it's just not possible to be 100,000% perfect at this game. So I just come to realize that, okay, I can hold myself to as high of a standard as I want to. I just have to be able to understand that I'm not going to be able to play up to that all the time. So just being able to accept that failure is going to happen, just be able to flush it and just move on to the next play. Because if I hold on to it, then I play bad. So.
Well, and hearing you talk about that, it makes me feel like you're a very good communicator, which is really important in that pitcher catcher relationship, right? Like the way that I can hear you talk to your battery mate through situations and through failures and through adjustments. How important is that part of your game to you? And have you seen it make a difference with your teammates?
Yes. So I love being able to have a good relationship with my pitchers, because I feel like as a catcher, it's not about you. Like you just need to be able to get it done behind the plate for your pitcher. You're just trying to make them look good. You're trying to help them work through things, because there's the one, like they throw the ball, they get it going. So I like to have a really like open line of communication with my pitchers. So I know, okay, what you're feeling today, what you don't want to throw, what you do want to throw, where are we going to look on the plate? Like which pitch is going to be your strikeout pitch today? Just like all that kind of stuff. I love to have open communication so I know what's going on in their head. I like to call timeout a lot if they're struggling, because like I know my pitchers, like I like to have a good relationship with them, like on and off the field. So it's like I see them struggling, I'm gonna be like, okay, time, like what's going on with you, you know? So I like to be able to know them and know when they're struggling, be able to try and help them out of that. So I feel like that's such a huge part of being a catcher.
So of all the things physically that go into being a catcher, and specifically maybe it's even better asked mechanically, where do you think in the year 2023, as this year comes to an end, that you've grown the most defensively as a catcher? Maybe you'd even tell me as a breakthrough, I really grew in this area defensively as a catcher. What would that be?
I would say defensively, my form on my throwdowns. So like when I was younger, I used to just be able to get away with like throwing the ball as hard as I could and just like get people out by a mile. But everyone's way faster now in high level 18U. So everyone's very fast. And I had to learn that, okay, my arm can't handle just being able to huck it down there anymore. I just have to actually work on getting my body in the right position to be able to help myself and protect my arm. So I'd say defensively, my form is like much better than it was. And then mentally, what I improved on, I would just say being able to like lead, but not like try and be controlling with it. Just like, I want to be able to know all of my teammates and their strengths and weaknesses and try and help them, be able to lead them in a way that I can like help them with that, like per se, I guess. But not just be like, oh, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. It's like, okay, what can I do to help you be able to do that? So just being able to communicate more like better with my teammates to be able to lead them better.
What a thoughtful answer, because in the end of the day, a great leader is also a great delegator, right? I mean, trusting that maybe at that moment your shortstop needs to step up with some big words. Maybe it's your first baseman. That's very thoughtful, wise, growing as you get ready to go to Oklahoma. Now I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm going to talk about you as a hitter. Obviously, you've had a great career at Archbishop Mitty. If I'm to look at all the Max Preps number, they're incredible. I mean, you've done amazing things. But again, as a hitter, where do you feel like this year, this big year of 2023, you've improved offensively?
I would say my pitch selection, like that's a huge part. I've been walking so much because I like to, now whenever I get into the box, I'm going to think, okay, you're going to throw me my pitch. Like I'm not going to swing at anything that's not mine. And if I feel like I can't drive it, I'm not going to swing at it. So pitch selection was one huge thing I feel like I improved on. And also hitting outside pitch as well. That used to be like my weakness. Now it's become my strength because I practice it so much. So I feel like that's another thing I've improved in. So.
And then real quick, is that kind of trusting too? If a pitch is away, is it trusting yourself, letting it travel? And you're probably not just sending it to right, but you're driving it, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I used to be, I still kind of am, a very impatient hitter. So like I see a pitch and I'm like, it's there. I'm going to swing as hard as I can. But it like the trouble with me and hitting outside pitches used to be that I'd be like, oh, I see it. Like, cause like as a catcher, I feel like you have an advantage in hitting because you just sit there the whole entire time seeing balls come at you. So you're really good at reading spin, seeing where it's going to tail off to. So it's like, I can see the ball coming at me. It's just the thought process of getting my foot down, be like, okay, wait for it. Like, so that was my struggle, but I feel like I've been better with it now.
Especially when you see these pitchers at the next level who have such nasty off-speed pitches, right? You see it out front and then you got to wait and be patient. And I mean, Oklahoma has just set the standard when it comes to crushing every part of the plate. I mean, they just, they do it. So you're on that path. I'm curious, you said the Jenny Finch Classic in Seattle was one of your most memorable events that you've been to. I know Jenny personally, I just love what she's done for our sport and creating experiences for young athletes. Why was that the most memorable of all the things that you've done? Why was that so memorable?
Just the people that were there and the people that were running it, like it was such a fun experience because I got to play with one of my future teammates, Tia, like even though she wasn't playing, I got to hang out with her and know her. So that was fun. And then just meeting people who I never would have met before was just so cool because like you get to see people who you like never would have expected you would have met. And you just got to create such a great relationship with them. And now they're going to be like your lifelong friends. And so that's what I'm really thankful for from that experience. It's just meeting those girls and spending so much time with them and getting to know them, like, and just making such good friends now. So that was my favorite part, is just making the friends that I met there. So.
Well, and I know this is going to be a pretty easy, and we probably know the answer to the question, but you chose Oklahoma. It's every softball player's dream at this point, but it might not be for every softball player. For you, what was it about the program and the coaches that drew your attention, knowing that, I mean, you've got to really up your game to be a part, and obviously you fit that mold, but what was it about that program that was so attractive to you?
I would say, of course, the national championships. That's the first thing. And I would just say just the culture that they have there. Coach Gass likes to say that she's turning girls into women. Like by the time they leave, they're women. And like, I feel like I wanted to go somewhere where I'm not just going to get better as a player, I'm going to get better as a person. So like when I stepped on that campus and I talked to the coaches about like what their plans are for me and just in general, like seeing the way that the girls interact on the team, seeing the way they interact with the girls, it's just like, I was like, yeah, this is the place for me. Cause I feel like even if I don't do my best every single day, they're still gonna like support me like 110% no matter what. And like me being so far, I love my family. Like I'm such a family oriented person, and being so far away from my family, I feel like I need to be somewhere where it's going to feel like a family. And that's what it feels like there. So that's what I'm excited about.
What have you learned from Jamie, who's playing at Fresno State? Jamie, who's your sister, just a little bit older than you, but gone out front of you, been to Lewis and Clark, been out there in the expedition. It's nice when Dad tells you about his time as a college athlete, but that feels like a little while ago. For your sister, what have you seen as she's gone through that experience?
Just staying positive. Like my sister, she's one of the most positive people I've met. And I feel like with me being able to be better at accepting failure, she was a huge part in that because I played with her on my last 18U team and she just like was always up. She was always like helping people. She's like, oh no, you're good. You know, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Like just being, I want to like kind of emanate what she was doing, like being able to be there for my teammates, just like always being, not always, because like you're not always going to be positive, but I mean like try to always be positive, try to always be picking others up, try to always be selfless. And I feel like that's what I learned from Jamie because she just is a rock star at that. So.
And I think I make a big mistake as we hear you talk, the confidence and the way you present yourself and, you know, in your sport as a woman, but I'd love to know about the two that have come before you, Julius and Catherine. Just tell me a little bit about your mom and dad, please.
Yeah, my dad, he is the best at giving advice. I feel like a lot of people would say, oh, like you like sound like way older than you are. And I'm like, it's probably because of my dad. Cause like, he's always talking me through things. He's always telling me like, you know, you're going to be fine. Stop overthinking things. Like I have an experience like that. And he'll like tell me a story. So I feel like my dad, he's just like gives very great life advice. And my mom, she's just always there. Like if you need someone to pick you up, if you need someone to tell you a joke to make you laugh when you're sad, if you need someone to be there for you day in and day out, no matter what, my mom's going to be there. So yeah, I love both of them very much for that.
I don't have any money nearby, so I'd offer a few bucks to just pay for a really good piece of advice. Like, do you have one piece of advice that you could share with us that your dad has shared?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. I would just say that don't let anyone outwork you. Like as much as you can be nervous about someone being better than you, as much as you can be worried that someone's going to take your spot or someone's going to beat you out for something, no one can like control the controllables. Like no one can do anything like better than you in your mind, at least, if you are working as hard as you can at all times. So if I'm going to work as hard as I can to be able to do the things I want to do, and no one's going to stop me from doing that. So I would just say like, work until you can't, like that kind of thing. So
Hicks, you're a great interview. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. That's really good stuff. We really appreciate it. Have a great senior year. We hope you reach all of your dreams, your final year in high school, and we'll be in touch. Congratulations on all you've accomplished.
Thank you so much.
What a great chat with Corri Hicks. We also want to thank Lauren Putz, who joined us on this podcast as well. Two great softballers with very bright futures. One, of course, going to Michigan, one going to Oklahoma. And thanks for finding us. Another episode drops very soon. But for now, PGF Players Podcast is in the books.